Hey, today we're talking about healthy relationships.
This is the health series number 4. Hi, Chips and Salsa here. I'm DeeDee and this is Ximena. We're 2 homeschool moms with helpful, practical tips for you.
Yeah, so hit that subscribe button and hit the bell button so you get notified every time we upload a video. We upload one every Tuesday.
So today we're talking about healthy relationships.
Yes, which is kind of an oxymoron for some people because they think that homeschoolers are not socialized.
Right. I feel like that myth should be debunked by now, but
It's not.
You do still hear people say, oh, what about socialization?
All the time. That's the number one question I get when I say I homeschool. Or some people will say, yeah, they're homeschooled, so they were a little awkward. I'm like,
Homeschool does not equal awkward.
no. If they're awkward, it's just because they're awkward.
Right. Their family is probably all awkward.
We want to talk about true socialization.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons why that is debunked is because being in an atmosphere with a bunch of kids your age is not necessarily true socialization.
Right. There's nowhere else in your life after schooling where you're only going to be surrounded by people of your own age.
And in a classroom setting when you're not really allowed to talk.
Outside in the real world, your friends are going to be various ages. Like, I'm super old compared to Ximena.
Oh, whatever. When my kids were in public school, I remember having a conversation with her 3rd grade teacher. And I remember she had tears in her eyes when she said, this dynamic does not work. I have like over 30 kids and I feel like all I'm doing is putting out fires between arguments and issues that they're having socially. It was mostly social because these kids come from different backgrounds, different family dynamics, and some people will have really hard lives, and the teachers have all this pressure to teach their class, and they don't have a lot of time to sit with so many children and talk about respect and I know a lot of teachers do. I'm not knocking the teachers at all. I'm just saying it's much harder to do it in such a large group setting.
Right. And the parents aren't seeing those interactions.
Right.
I doubt most kids aren't running home and saying, I had a conflict with my friend at the playground.
Yeah.
So that you can interact and begin to teach them how to deal socially with people.
Right.
So we were talking about different ways that we can teach socialization, and one of those is conflict resolution.
It's so important. Our kids get along great. There was a time where her oldest and my youngest were always kind of button heads and
he said he would annoy him so much because he was always correcting him when he said anything about dinosaurs.
My son, knows a lot of facts and he reads a lot, and so he tends to be, a little bit of a know-it-all sometimes.
Well, he was thinking that my son was a know-it-all
Right.
too, right? So they were both feeling the same thing.
We never really truly got involved in the arguments, but I would notice it, obviously. And then in private, I would have conversations with my son about it. And talking about just how disrespectful it can be when you are always correcting people.
Absolutely. And really those values about forgiveness, about respecting others as a human, but also respecting each other's boundaries.
And honoring others above yourself, like it says in the Bible, so that all of those values were able to be explained in that one instance. And now they get along great, by the way.
And we get to do that as homeschoolers, is spending that time to help our children and noticing. I think that's really the key.
Being in
Even
tune.
if you don't homeschool, to be in tune with, they kind of feel like they're off, or what's going on, really getting the conversation going so they can come to you. I've had great conversations with my kids.
That is true socialization in our eyes because we're really hand-holding them through. It's hard. Relationships are complicated.
Yes.
And we need to guide them.
Nurturing intimate relationships really falls upon us when they're young.
I read in this tween book that between the ages of 8 and 12, we really need to choose our friends for them. And we need to cultivate them and nurture them. And so that takes time. And I'm not saying like manipulate it. Obviously, you're going to choose somebody that they get along with. But what I mean is, if you see that there's a toxic relationship or an unhealthy relationship, you can decide, no, we're not hanging out. Because guess what? When they're older, we can't tell them what relationships to choose. So we need to help them recognize what a healthy relationship looks like.
I always say this, but putting the value on it. If you put value in their friendships, you'll put the effort into having their friends over, meeting up at the park. If you don't see the value in it,
then
they don't have any power to go to their friend's house across town. Really? Unfortunately, they are at the age, though, they're chatting on Google Hangouts. Yeah. We have to monitor that stuff.
We really do. That's why I always barge in. Catch him in the act. No, but we do have to monitor that because things you never know, what they're talking about or what they're, what videos they're sharing with one another. So it's so important. It's a different era than when we were kids, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. We have to be on guard with the social media. It is taking over.
It really is.
The social world.
The research actually shows this. There are little dopamine reactions from getting likes, so it's actually physically addicting, right? What's very interesting is neither of my kids have social media accounts, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have Instagram or anything like that. And through mine, they'll get the same effect. Like, I catch my tween, like, wanting to know how many likes we have, even on Chips and Salsa. They're both monitoring our subscribers. It's so important that we are constantly talking to them about their self-worth and what really makes them valuable. And how these likes and having, I don't know how many subscribers or followers or friends on social media is really not worth much.
And putting value on your family and your real face-to-face interactions
above popularity. So much of our culture right now glorifies fame through social media.
You know what made me think of right now is the Lego Batman movie. He was so popular after he, defeated the bad guy, but then that was all just, oh, Batman. Oh, he's probably going home to all his super cool friends, but then he really wasn't. He was going home all alone because he didn't know how to cultivate relationships because of the fear of losing them. He was afraid to open up and have intimate relationships. Yeah. And if you haven't seen the movie, it's super cute. Man, that got deep.
So we want to hear from you. What are you doing today to cultivate these relationships in your kids' lives?
Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. We'll see you next time. Bye.